Hello, students of Central Secondary School going into grade 12 biology. This is retired teacher E. Kimmel reporting for duty, and I hope you all had a great summer, and I hope you are raring to go with this new course of grade 12 bio. This video is primarily intended, of course, for students at Central Secondary School in London, Ontario. I hope it might be useful to other grade 12 students in other high schools, but this is how we typically have done it at Central. All right. Now, I taught the course for many years, and this is the first year in my life, the last 25 years, that I haven't done it, but I have a very good idea of what you're going to be doing this year. And as long as the curriculum doesn't change, I will still be on the ball and able to help you. All right. So this is just an introductory video giving you some ideas about what to expect in the course, and in particular in the first, couple of strands in the course. Now, when you first show up for your grade 12 biology course, you're going to get a course outline. I don't have a current copy of that, but it doesn't change very often, so I can pretty much show you, the strands that you're going to be covering and the order in which you're going to be doing them. In addition to the course outline, very early on in the course, possibly the first day, you're going to get the textbook. And this is the textbook. Now, don't get mad at me for having a copy. This one's not even numbered, and I got this one years ago when the course first started. So you can come find me in New Brunswick and take it back if you want. This is the textbook, Nelson Biology 12. As far as I know, there's also a downloadable PDF of this textbook, because I'm not certain you can get a CD with everything on it. There might be a couple of them floating around, but otherwise, search the internet for the downloadable PDF and you'll have the whole book and all the diagrams and all that. You don't have to carry this thing around. Okay, so I want to address a couple of issues about the course and how it kind of proceeds from the grade 11 biology. You remember how much fun we had in grade 11 biology last year? Wasn't that an awesome course? All right, well, grade 12 biology is not like that. Not really, anyhow. In grade 11 biology, we studied the three systems, the digestive, the respiratory, and the circulatory system. We did all those genetics problems, all that cool stuff. The grade 12 biology course, although it helps, it really helps to know some of that stuff. You're not going to need to remember submucosa and muscularis and cross a brown-eyed girl and a blue-eyed guy. That's not going to be part of the course, although all that stuff is relevant, of course. I really tried to push you guys when it came to the biochemistry stuff in the grade 11. You might remember I was really interested and big on the enzymes, all those digestive enzymes we covered in pathways, and all that anatomy and the microscopy and stuff. And I did that because I knew that you would need some of that, or at least that kind of thinking and that depth of knowledge in order to do well in the grade 12 biology course. Once again, you don't have to remember pepsin functions at a pH of 2 in the stomach. But if you have a concept of, pepsin is an enzyme and it acts on proteins, which are big molecules, which get broken down into smaller subunits, that's the kind of stuff that you'll need to just to have a feeling for, at least for when you learn stuff like that in grade 12 biology. It won't be a brand new thing for you. You'll go, oh yeah, well, I mean, I learned some biochemical pathways before, and sure, it was tough, but I'm up for the challenge. So you're not going to find a direct building block or ladder-like structure from the grade 11 biology into the grade 12. Grade 12 will be a new thing for you, and that's good in a way, in that if you didn't do as well as you would have liked to in grade 11, or you didn't apply yourself as much as you would have liked in grade 11, now's your chance in grade 12. And this, of course, is a very important year for you if you're taking grade 12 biology because you need it for college or university. You have to do well, and you can do well, but it's only going to happen if you work at it and if you're honest with yourself about stuff that you don't get. You can't pretend that you understand or coast along and hope that on a test you can write some flowery stuff about something and do well. You're going to have to know the content of the course. So be honest with yourself, take it seriously, and be prepared to work at it. I mean, think of students in medical school studying, patient diagnosis or whatever, and all the books that you see in the movies that they've got around them. You're going to have to do stuff like that. Take it serious, work together, get help from your teacher, and come to me if you need to. I don't mind. I have nothing better to do than help you guys. All right. So there's a little pep talk. I'm sorry about that, but it's the way I feel. All right. So I showed you the textbook, and I also want you to remember my website. All right. There are some teachers at Central or a teacher at Central who will potentially use my website, and that's great. And they may not. Either way, my website is available to you here. I just want to show you again. If you've never heard of it, I don't know how that's possible. It's called Zerobio. It's at zerobio.com. And this is what the homepage looks like. And what you do is you go up to the Student Center here. And if you were in my grade 10 class in the past, you may have used this section. Grade 11, you may have used this section. And this is the section for the grade 12 biology. So you just click on that, you come in, and right away you will see a list of the strands. No, never mind the introduction section, but a list of the strands, most likely in the order that you're going to study them this year. All right, so you're going to start with biochemistry, and I want to talk about chemistry. Metabolic processes, homeostasis, molecular genetics, and you're going to end the year in the last couple weeks of May into June before the exam, which is in June. All right, you're going to end with population dynamics. So I want to talk about chemistry because there's always a concern among students about whether or not they have the prerequisite, background for the chemistry stuff that they hear is part of grade 12 biology. And yes, I am happy to tell you there is a generous amount of chemistry. It's really biochemistry, right? The chemistry of biology in almost the first quarter of the year of the grade 12 biology. But it does extend through it a little bit further than that as well. But don't worry, there is nothing to fear. You don't have to have grade 11 chemistry as a prerequisite. And those of you who do, yes, that will be helpful, but you won't be at that much of an advantage over students who don't have grade 11 chemistry, because very early on in that biochemistry strand, everybody will be learning new things, not stuff that you will have covered in room 304 or 305 chemistry. It won't be the same kind of stuff. All right, so don't worry about what your experiences have been in chemistry. If you did grade 11 chem last year and you struggled with it, or you weren't interested in it, perhaps, and there's probably a lot of you that were, and that's great, and you need chemistry. But regardless of that, the grade 12 bio course will be a new thing for you. All right, so here on my webpage, you can see the order of the strands that you will be covering. I would assume that probably you will be into the third strand, homeostasis, by around the middle of the year, which makes sense. So the first half of the year is biochemistry and metabolic processes, which do have a lot of chemistry. However, I want to show you something here. If you go to my biochemistry section and click on worksheets, you are going to see a list of worksheets that I have tended to have my students print out, or I've given them copies of that. If you come down to topics on test 1, this is a PowerPoint thing that I converted to PDF, and I would show my students last year. All right, and in previous years as well. This is a list of topics, overall topics on the first test in that biochemistry strand. So if we just come down and have a look at this, you may not be able to read all of the very bottom, maybe cut off in the screen. Sorry about that. Anyways, you can see the major topics of study, and where you see PPT, that just means it was a PowerPoint or it was a printout from my website. Again, your teacher may choose to use this, they may not, but these are the general topics that you'll be doing in the biochemistry strand, regardless of who your teacher is. Now, they will differ a little bit. And so I do encourage you to talk to students in other classes as well. Compare your notes, but don't feel that you have to compete with students in other classes or worry about where they are in the course versus where you are, or how one teacher did this versus another. I mean, it's all biology out there, and it all depends on how the teacher teaches it and what resources they use. In the end, you all write the same exam, and your teachers will get together and they'll make sure that that exam covers material that you have done in your class. All right, although your teacher may have their own particular way of approaching that and way of evaluating that. So don't worry about that, but definitely network with each other. That's critical. All right, and network with me as well if you want to involve me or ask me stuff. I may not know how your teacher does it versus another teacher versus how I did it. That didn't really make sense, but you know, I can help out. It's all the same material. All right. Okay. Now, just note that the first couple of topics here, natural philosophy and experimental variables, might not seem to really fit a grade 12 biology course. Natural philosophy is probably going to be done within 1 day or 1.5 days, if at all. All right. And that just gets into the two sort of yin and yang like ways of looking at phenomena in the universe, whether or not it's a purely natural, mechanistic, scientific viewpoint, where the physical laws of the universe govern everything that happens, or there's a bit more of a sort of a spiritual or supernatural element that comes into things. All right. In this grade 12 biology course and in science in general, we take the mechanistic as opposed to the vitalistic viewpoint that the universe is governed by laws, rules, whatever, and stuff happens just in a purely random, to some extent, mechanistic, cause and effect kind of way. And it's like philosophy, and that's why it's called natural philosophy. Experimental variables will not be anything new to you. You will have studied them in grade 9 science, probably when you did that experiment. And in grade 10, we did, independent, controlled, dependent variables. Probably you'll go very quickly back over that. Then you're into the course itself. And it will begin with a review of chemistry, basic chemistry. Now, I've got, as my third point down here, atoms, molecules, and chemical bonds. Now, I called it that because I have a printout. I'm going to go back to my website here. Oops. Go back to my website. How do we do that? Over here, atoms, molecules, and chemical bonds, Adobe PDF. If you click on that, you will get this, a few pages, whatever, that you can print out. Again, your teacher may choose to use this exact worksheet, all right, and maybe not. But either way, it's not a bad thing to have, all right. And my previous students will have done this. So if you're in touch with any of them and you want to get a copy of it, or if you want to get it and ask me some questions, I'm happy to help out. Just look at where this starts, all right. The first blank. Atoms are the smallest particles into which matter can normally be divided. Examples of common biologically important atoms, these are the ones in the molecules that we care about in biology. So we're not really looking at zinc and magnesium and iron and stuff like that. We're talking about things like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. So if you consider a glucose molecule, or DNA, all right, the nucleotides of DNA. They're basically made up of those 4 main atoms. Those are the biologically important ones. And then you have a few other ones that are in there as well. Atoms are composed of 3 types of subatomic, that means smaller than the atom, subatomic particles, negatively charged electrons, you got protons, neutrons. As you're seeing this, you're going, oh, this is all pretty basic stuff, right? I mean, I've seen the periodic table. You're pretty familiar with that. And that's how the course is going to start. You will have confidence that, yeah, okay, I remember this chemistry. You'll do the model of the atom with the nucleus and the electrons going around in various orbits or orbitals and energy shells or levels. Board diagrams, I'm sure you've done those before. Now, different teachers do them slightly differently, but yeah, you repeat that. You go back into atomic number and mass number and talk about isotopes. Now, isotopes might be a new thing. There's just one little new concept. It's not hard. It's in the book. Lewis diagrams you may or may not have seen before. It depends if you've done grade 11 chemistry. Bond formation, covalent bonds. You will get into a concept here, polar and non-polar covalent bonds, that will probably be new to you. All right, so just pay attention to what the teacher is doing. All right, there's a little bit in the textbook. There's not that much, but you can research it on the internet. You can talk to me if you need to, talk to each other. My point is that most of this chemistry that you'll be doing at the very beginning is going to be general chemistry. And of course, if you've taken grade 11 chemistry, you're going to feel like, oh, I'm at a little bit of an advantage. And if you haven't, you're going to go, oh, I'm relying on my grade 10, but I did grade 10 2 years ago. I kind of forget it. But trust me, because very quickly, everybody is going to be in the same boat. Because, if I can come back to here, once you get through the basic biochemistry, the basic stuff, all right, and you hit this section on functional groups, this is going to be new to everybody. And from then on, pretty much in the course, everything will be new to everyone, all right? So no one is going to be at any advantage or disadvantage. Now, you can see I've got stuff here on functional groups, molecular model lab, types of chemical reactions, linkages, biologically important molecules, this section here. Do you remember in the grade 11 biology course, regardless of who your teacher was, you learned a little bit about glucose and how glucose is a molecule that clicks together to make starch or amylose. And you learned about the enzyme amylase that cuts it into maltose, and maybe you learned about glycogen and other molecules. I really pushed you hard, if you were in my class, to learn about glycogen and amylose and the enzyme names, because I knew this stuff was coming. There are going to be a lot of biological molecules and reactions that, you know, are part of biochemistry that you have to know about: glycogen and cellulose and chitin and steroids and cholesterol and all this stuff. And so this strand really sets the tone for the rest of the course as you look at, you know, what are the biologically important molecules in the body? And then you can go on and do more stuff on enzymes and hormones in the nervous system, but knowing that biochemistry. So yeah, it's going to be a tough go, but you know, you're going to get the notes, you've got the textbook, you've got each other, and you got me. And you got your teachers, of course, before me, your teachers, okay, always. And so that is your challenge. You got to do it, and you can do it, but you're going to have to put the work into it, all right? And I've done some of the work for you here with these tutorials. The other thing I want to mention to you, by the way, before I forget about this is, let's get that, let's see if I can move that out of the way, open a new thing here, just on the internet. Don't forget that I have on my website, on my YouTube channel, I'm getting distracted here, my YouTube channel, right? Just search Zerobio or my name, Elliot Kimmel, and you will find my playlist, science songs, science tutorials, etc. Now, I've organized this in terms of grade, so, and in terms of the order in which it shows up normally in the course. So you can use this stuff as a reference. Now, I don't have a lot of stuff from the very beginning of the year. A lot of this stuff comes up in the second strand on metabolism. Let's see if I can still get that. Well, that's the first strand there. Let me go back here. Topics on test one. No, that's the one I just looked at. Sorry. Okay, where am I? This one here. Well, actually, by the way, sorry, I'm on a couple of different tangents. Here's another review for Strand 1, and the topic list given here is very similar to what I showed you in that original PDF of the PowerPoint, okay? Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, I'm sorry. these videos here are here to help you out, and you will need some of them as you get into the second strand, which is on metabolism. You're going to need that stuff. We got some stuff here on photosynthesis, all right, and really it goes all the way through the whole course, all the way into population dynamics. And don't forget this one down here. This is number 21 right now. The biology exam review. Okay, this is almost an hour-long video reviewing for your final exam in biology. All right. So those are some resources for you as you get ready to do your biology course. Of course, I also have various quizzes and games. Some of these I made up years ago, and how relevant they'll be. But I mean, you know, there's lots of stuff here for you. True, false quiz on biochemistry in the first section. You just click in here. In terms of subatomic particles, electrons are positive. Well, that's wrong right away. So, you know, there's stuff that you can use to help you study for the course. So I intend to do some more actual teaching tutorials for you. Let me know if there's something in particular that you need. I want to wish you all the best. Good luck. Work hard and feel good about what you're learning. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.